Hello and welcome to This Week at the Movies. I'm Matt.
And I'm Eric.
And much like a trip to Walmart, Christmas is coming early for all of you out there as we are looking at a slew of Christmas movie content. We have had back-to-back weeks with big theatrical releases for Christmas. There are Christmas movies all over the small screen, whether it's on Hallmark Channel or Netflix, which is apparently doing a Christmas movie every Wednesday now from now until the holiday, or all over the place Christmas content flying at you. So we'll be looking at some good Christmas content. And that kicks off with this week's big theatrical release, Red One, which comes from Amazon MGM Studios, but is getting a theatrical release. It comes from the director who gave us the last two Jumanji films and a writing staff that worked with The Rock on the Fast and Furious films. So definitely familiar with Dwayne Johnson's particular style. He is paired with Chris Evans here. He plays basically the head of Santa Claus's security force. Chris Evans, a guy who has always been skeptical about the magical elements of life, but has been good at finding people, places, and things. And when Santa is kidnapped just about 30 hours before Christmas Eve, he gets roped into trying to find him. So it's kind of a buddy comedy. It's kind of an action film. It's kind of a mystery film. We get J.K. Simmons fresh off of showing a whole lot of himself in Saturday Night playing Santa Claus. So that may give you a moment of pause if you've seen both films. I know Eric and I mentioned both of us can't help but think about that, especially when you first see him again. His Milton Berle was very memorable in Saturday Night. His Santa Claus is pretty good, not too bad here either. You get some different holiday adventures. You meet Krampus, you meet the Christmas Witch, you meet a whole bunch of different mystical creatures. You probably never see snowmen the same way. Some people have not really enjoyed this movie, and I don't think it's serious. And I do think there are some probably shortcomings in some of the plot and the construction. But I had fun with this. I went and saw it with my wife. I think it's a little bit more of an action film. I don't know if I would call it super family friendly. It is PG-13. I don't know if it's great for younger kids with some of the themes. There's a movie I will touch on that came out in theaters a little bit later that I think is probably more kid oriented. But I thought this was fun enough. I'm giving it a thumbs up. I don't think it was incredible. I don't know if it's destined to become a Christmas classic as some of the marketing suggested, but I thought it was a fun ride. It had some good looks and some good performances. It is not as good to me as those Jumanji films were. Right, Jumanji: Welcome to the Jungle in particular was a big surprise the year it came out because I was not really thinking much of that. Came out kind of around this same time of year and built a huge following. I think they're trying to capture that. I didn't think this was quite on that level, but I thought it was fun for what it was.
I didn't. I thought I'm giving it one thumb down. Look, there are movies that are sharply written to entertain an audience, and then there's a movie where characters talk in an interrogation room, like how they work from the CIT in a militaristic setting, and then the guy's like, wait, you're telling me that Santa Claus was kidnapped? And it makes me want all of my insides to just turn into liquid and just slide out my body. It's draining. It feels like to be so like we saw that he got kidnapped. We've heard him explain that he got kidnapped, but this is clearly written where it's like whoever's watching this audience needs that explained to them, or worse, we have to be able to pitch this whole concept in one line and sell it in a trailer. So we need to add that into the movie. And that's what it feels. It feels like an empty studio CGI. The last time I watched a movie that felt this consequenceless was Borderlands. And like it just
That is not a good comp for the.
this is a little bit better. This is better than Borderlands, I'd say. Like that's, but it's the same deal where there's no consequences to anything. People just get smacked around like rubber for a few hours, and then they try and save Santa. There are two sequences that I genuinely appreciated, and that was when they sneak in and there's a lot of like practical effects and work done for them to meet Krampus, which will lead into my other movie that I'm talking about. And just that little nod of like, well, Santa really was your brother. And just like Santa looks like J.K. Simmons and Krampus looks like this and they're brothers. And that was just like,
well, they did say adopted brother.
Yeah. Okay. Well, so, well, yeah. I enjoyed the slap fight sequence and just their little escape from that area with the chicken and things like that. I thought that was fun. And then of course, they hype up J.K. Simmons as like, oh no, this is a serious Santa Claus. He's lifting weights. He's jacked. His lead bodyguard is Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. Everything is precision. They work 364 days a year, not on Boxing Day, and they do that to rehearse
that
and
made
get
me laugh
everything
too.
down. Yeah, they do that to rehearse and get everything down, and then you actually get to see this payoff of Santa Claus in action, the way that they describe prepping him. And that was like a really great depiction of how Santa Claus would do his thing. I thought that was fantastic, that bit at the end there. But yeah, like Jack O'Malley and his son, and oh no, why can't I be a better father? Like I'm Tim Allen from the Santa Claus, but I'm also Jack Reacher, but I'm also not. Like I
mean, there are definitely a lot of common tropes in here.
Yeah.
The unbeliever lured by the magic of the season.
Yeah. Also, if anyone out there is writing a screenplay and your main character's name is something like Jack O'Malley, change it. Just change it. Do something. But like Jack O'Malley, it's like a video game protagonist. It's like which is no, video games are mostly better than that too. I could not buy into who is supposed to be like along with Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, the central protagonist. And then the story that they give to The Rock is so thin of like, I don't think I believe in Christmas anymore. You know what? I believe in Christmas again. It's like, all right, great.
Well, he'd become embittered by society, and honestly, after the last few weeks,
it's relatable. Fair.
I get that. But
see, I would have loved that. I would have loved him walking around actually being the sulking one. And when like Jack O'Malley figures out that there is a Santa Claus, he like gets really on board and is like, we really have to do this. And he's like, I don't even know anymore. Like The Rock being the weight probably would have been really funny, but I don't know.
Well,
it is what it is.
Doubtless, it's gonna probably end up number one at the box office.
And I'm guessing
a packed preview. I saw it last Sunday at a preview screening, and it was jam packed. I'm guessing your screening was pretty full too.
Yeah, not particularly, but like my assumption is what they did is release this just early enough that they can release it on digital on Christmas.
Yeah, you do have to wonder too. So, obviously an Amazon MGM release, a lot of these streamers, when they have a movie, they do put them in theaters for like a qualifying run, but their big push is going to be to have them on streaming. So like Steve McQueen's Saoirse Ronan film Blitz was in theaters last week. It's already gone because it's coming to Apple TV Plus on next Friday. You see a lot of them like a pop in, pop out, but this one looks like they're setting up to do kind of a longer theatrical run. I'll be curious to see what that does for the streaming platform. Before we get out of here, each of us was going to lift up some other Christmas themed entertainment you can see. Eric saw some Krampus in Red One, but it just wasn't the Krampus he was looking for. And I like how you and I have gone in completely different directions. You've gone Dark Christmas, and I actually have some Hallmark Plus content I'm going to lift up. So, but yours, a film that came out almost a decade ago, right? 2015. Yep. Krampus now has a new 4K Ultra HD version, the Naughty Cut. This one, a little bit of a darker Christmas tale, shall we say? Not exactly lighthearted. Probably not the same kind of fun-loving slapfest Krampus that you're going to see in Red One. But Eric, what did you think of the Naughty Cut?
It's been too long, unfortunately, since I've seen the original cut to know what the difference was. But the first thing that I'll notice is that the pacing of this movie, the pacing of Trick or Treat, and the pacing of Godzilla King of the Monsters, all by the same director, all drag. Like those movies, I enjoy all of them, but they all kind of like drag. This did not drag as much for me. I'm not sure what that says. I'm not sure what exactly they did, if there's just a little extra blood when all the CGI Ginger Men are killing everybody. But the thing that I always praise this for is so much care for the monsters and the creature design. So the odd thing is in 2015, meaning this movie was written before 2015, this movie tries to represent what it's like when a family is divided between your more right-wing and more left-wing households. And it is so tame. It is so the world that we think we used to live in. I recommend that everyone watch this to understand what it's like when it's just, well, families need to get together and we shouldn't let politics divide us over the holidays and that kind of thing. How people can respect each other and grow together. Like, it's so interesting watching culturally how different it was to look at this. And obviously this movie opens with a montage of talking about what Black Friday used to be pre-COVID, of people stomping and tearing each other apart all over each other to get gifts and all that kind of stuff. And it's emblematic of everything that had been toxic or disagreeable about the holiday. And it's supposed to be about this kid who gets burned out because of all of these things and like rejects Santa and then brings a curse upon his family, and everyone is taken out one by one and nobody is safe. And I also appreciate that nobody is safe. And the ending of this movie is so haunting in a way that feels very bright. And I don't know how this movie managed to be so twisted and dark and feel so light at the same time. Every actor, like the cast is insanely stacked. You have Adam Scott, Toni Collette, David Koechner hasn't done much lately, but you know him from The Office and things like that. Allison Tallman, who's now
she's doing an NBC sitcom now.
Yes, she is. That's what I thought. Yes, St. Venice Medical. Yes. And
but this, I think at this point in time, she was almost fresh off of what is one of the superior seasons of Fargo.
Oh yeah.
I looked it up for you. It says the time difference is about 4.5 minutes. It says most of the things in the Naughty Cut were previously released as deleted scenes from on other versions, but there are a couple of sequences where they put the original dialogue back in, which is either more sexually graphic or more profane.
Okay, so
a few more F-words for you.
Yeah, I guess so. But yeah, like apart from the CGI gingerbread men, which are still funny and it's still a fun sequence, just like the creature effects, the production design, a lot of people have gone off the sound design of just chains and howling wind and things like that. It's so well made and designed and created and physical and there. It's like, I don't know. It's just great for this weird season we're in, where we're doing a Christmas episode before Thanksgiving because Halloween just ended. It's like the perfect.
Walmart started doing their Christmas episode before Halloween even arrives.
Yeah. You walk into a Walmart and there's like a Halloween shelf with like Christmas decorations poking up behind it on the thing.
I mean, Hobby Lobby had their trees out in September, so.
But yeah, I think it's a great movie for that time of year. And then especially opening with like the Black Friday montage. Like it almost telegraphs to you right when you should watch this movie. And it's I don't know, it's like an adult Nightmare Before Christmas.
It does seem though frequently like big mainstream Christmas content releases, like the year that Elf and Love Actually and everything came out. They all came out in November.
Yeah. Well,
You usually
yeah.
do get the bigger Christmas release. I don't know what it is. You get them in November. Maybe it's because people are more apt to be able to go to things on the run up. But usually, right before Christmas, you get either blockbusters or award contenders. Or, I
Well,
mean, this year we're getting Nosferatu.
yeah. A theatrical run used to be pretty much guaranteed at least 6 weeks.
Mhm.
So if you release a movie halfway through November, it's gonna be in theaters. People aren't. Some people go to movie theaters like on Christmas, but most people aren't actually going out the on like Christmas Day or anything like that. They'll go out on the weekend before or after it or whatever, and you just want to hit that window where people have something seasonal to do, and that'd be a safe time to do it. You just have like you have the movie available the whole run up to the holiday. So it makes sense. Just that's not how the world works right now anymore. Like they released Red One and we're midway through November, but movies have been being pulled like 3 and 4 weeks after they're in theaters. And
Or are coming to streaming. Like you mentioned Transformers 1. I'm pretty sure that movie came out in theaters September 20th.
mhm,
It's already on Paramount Plus
mhm.
streaming. I was like, oh, that came out a while ago. It has not even literally been 2 months.
Yeah.
And it's they've already dropped to streaming. We've been seeing Joker we were laughing about, but it I don't even think it took a month to drop. I'm pretty sure it dropped to video on
Digital.
demand
Yeah.
right for Halloween, and it came out at the beginning of October. So I think it was more of a reflection of people's viewing habits and tastes have changed. So I wouldn't be shocked if you're right that Prime Video wants to be able to drop Red One in people's houses that week of Christmas.
Mm.
So we'll see where it lands. So obviously Krampus, you can get. There are several versions, I think, streaming. I forgot to look.
Yeah, just be careful and make sure you get the one from 2015. There's not a lot of good Krampus movies out there. And even this one is debatable for some people. I just really, really adore all the work that's put into it.
The original version is currently streaming on Max and Prime Video.
Nice.
If you were interested in watching I'm pretty sure it's got to be the theatrical version. It doesn't particularly say, but you can catch that now. Well, I have a couple of things. I went in the complete opposite direction, apparently, as befits probably our home lives. I have two that I'm going to lift up that are available. Another one is a movie that is in theaters right now. It came out actually last Friday. And it did not too bad. It's called The Best Christmas Pageant Ever. It is based on a book. It was previously adapted into a film a few years ago, but now it has been adapted onto the big screen again by Dallas Jenkins. He is a director who actually created the TV series The Chosen, if you've seen that. So that probably gives you an indication this is a faith-based story and film. It is set a little bit in the past. I don't remember if it ever said specifically what year it was. It struck me it was probably the 80s or early 90s. But Judy Greer and Pete Holmes are a couple who live in this small town where the Christmas pageant at their local church is the biggest thing happening on Christmas Eve. And this is the 75th anniversary edition. The lady who had run the pageant for years has an accident where she breaks both of her legs. So Judy Greer is just a devoted mom and wife, and she volunteers to run the pageant, much to her family's dismay. And when she does, a local family of kids who are kind of notorious for being wild and a little bit of bullies have decided this year that they're going to give church a try, and they want to be the leads in the pageant. So that creates a whole bunch of kind of chaos in the background. There's a lot of fun elements here. I actually went to a preview screening where they included interview with Pete Holmes, Judy Greer, and Dallas Jenkins, who made the film, and they were talking about how they were trying to create something a little bit like a Christmas Story type feel, that kind of a family story that has a good heart to it, but also has some fun and some things that people will recognize. And there is a lot of fun sequences here. Lauren Graham plays the adult narrator of the events that are happening while she's depicted on screen as a little girl who is Judy Greer's character's daughter. So that's kind of a fun entry point into the world. But I thought this had a beautiful message. I actually liked this better than Red One. If you saw my written review on the site last week, I gave it 4 stars.
Wow.
I liked it a lot. It is up actually in my top 12 movies of the year.
Wow.
I had a incredible experience going to see this movie. This was a lot of fun for both me and my wife, and it kind of hits all the things you want from a Christmas film. We talked about a little bit about whether Red One was maybe particularly for kids. The best Christmas pageant ever, is decidedly for the whole family. If you're looking for something that's not going to be controversial, or you're not going to have any fun or awkward conversations with your kids afterward, this is the one that you would go to. It's basically just about putting on a pageant and trying to be kind and kids. And it did remind me a lot of the kind of elements I like about A Christmas Story, that have made it a classic. I had a lot of fun with it. If you get a chance to see it in theaters, I think you will really enjoy it. I do think this one is more likely to me than Red One to become a seasonal Christmas classic.
Cool.
And just the passion for the team. Dallas Jenkins said he has wanted to make this movie for 20 years. He's been trying to get it made. And just a really beautiful performance from Judy Greer, and Pete Holmes is great as kind of
that's good.
The dad. And the complete opposite, you talked about, we have this cliche about, our horrendous father who decides to get his crap together for Christmas. Sometimes it's nice to just see a loving family who know how to love and support each other and be there for each other. And that would be this movie. And then if you're looking for something on the small screen, and you, like me, have a wife that has subscribed you to Hallmark Plus, they have a pair of original Christmas series. This one launched a couple Thursdays back. There are 3 episodes up now. It is called The Mistletoe Murders, and it's kind of like a little bit of a murder mystery series, but it's on Hallmark Plus. So grain of salt. Sarah Drew plays a lady who runs a year-round Christmas store in this small town, but this does actually happen to be the season leading up to Christmas. It is really unclear to me where in the calendar they are sitting, because they don't seem to be referencing Thanksgiving, but I've seen 3 episodes and it feels like they've played out over a couple of weeks, and we still haven't hit Christmas yet, even though we're in the trappings of the season. Now, I know on the Hallmark Channel, Christmas basically runs from September 1st until January 15th, as a season. But Sarah Drew is obviously, they give you little insights that she has some kind of a past. I don't know exactly what she did, but that is what led her to this small town where she's running a Christmas store, which is what provided the money for her to be able to live this life. And she's also trying to stay off the grid. She's either a spy or a master thief. That's what I've come down to. I'm not sure which. But she ends up getting drawn into, it's almost like Angela Lansbury when she lived in her small town in Murder, She Wrote. There just happens to be some crimes. And Peter Mooney plays the small town detective who is at first a little put off why the kindly lady that runs the Christmas store keeps interfering in his investigations. But now that we're on episode 3, has sort of realized that she's got some kind of special skills for this. And I'm sure there'll be some romance there because it is Hallmark and that's where they're trending. I it's easy to dismiss concepts like this and things that get put on channels like this. And I get it, but I was pleasantly surprised. I've seen 3 episodes now. I think it's going to be an 8-episode first season. The episodes drop Thursdays on the streaming site. It's been kind of a fun seasonal thing, a little bit different. Definitely less of an edge than even like a CBS NCIS would have. So, don't be expecting a hard-bitten crime drama here, but I like Sarah Drew in the lead role. We've seen her in a lot of different things. I think there's good chemistry, and I had fun with it. Kind of a seasonal, just another seasonal offering. So if you want kind of a darker Christmas tale, Eric gave you Krampus. If you were looking for family-friendly or Hallmark, apparently I'm your guy. Who knew? But either way, a lot of Christmas content out there, a lot of stuff continuing to fly out. So it'll be fun to see all this rolling out as we go toward the holiday. Any other Christmas thoughts?
I'll probably have some closer to Christmas. That's fine.
Yeah, we'll see if some of the other, because there's a whole bunch more Christmas movies coming out. Like Netflix has a Christmas movie with Lindsay Lohan that comes out Thanksgiving week, so that ought to be
right
memorable in some way.
Yeah.
Next week we will decidedly not be doing Christmas. We'll be looking at gladiatorial combat and witches. Because a couple of huge blockbuster releases coming out next Friday in Gladiator 2 and Wicked. So
right,
that should be a whole lot of fun. My wife was so excited for Wicked, she bought us D-Box tickets, so I'll be rumbling my way through a 3-hour musical. But it should be a little bit of fun. We'll look forward to seeing you guys next week. Until then, have some fun at the movies, and I guess Merry Early Christmas.